7th, I will call the meeting to order. If we could take the roll, that would be great.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Diaz.
Yes, present.
Councilmember Tillman.
Here.
Councilmember Trupiano.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Ania.
Here.
Mayor Juan.
I am here.
And for the record, all council members are present, and we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Next up is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First up on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items. If anyone has a comment on something not on the agenda, now is your time. I do have one speaker card. Mr. Flores. There's a button on the mic. If you press it, it'll turn the red light on and you're good to go.
Thank you. Hello, council members, mayor, vice mayor. My name is Gabriel Flores. I've been a Clayton resident for 5.5 years. Recently, I was researching a very specific topic using the Clayton City website and other public resources. And unfortunately, throughout my hours and days of research, I came to the conclusion that the city is suffering from transparency issues. Furthermore, based on my experience, I would say that the city has, in fact, become less transparent, specifically within the last few years. Older city council meeting minutes were more detailed and better transcribed, in my opinion. I think it's reasonable that the people of Clayton understand why their representatives vote the way they do. The current form of governmental communication does not allow for this kind of transparency. I was forced to watch hours-long videos in order to hear the thoughts of my representatives. It was nearly impossible for me to find when an initiative passed or when it was implemented. Often I relied on luck or just picking through a video or agenda at random and hoping that I was close. Now, I believe that we pay for a service to manage the city website, I think. On the website where the previous meetings are available to watch, there is a search function that does not work. Just getting it to work would go far in increasing the availability of public information. As it stands, having previous meetings available without providing a means to search through them in an effective way is almost useless to the average Clayton resident. Generally, and for my own mental well-being, I choose to defer to Hamlin and his razor when it comes to these sort of things. But if someone were actively trying to muddy governmental processes while technically abiding by transparency regulations, our website would be a fairly good example of how one might do that. I think it's reasonable to say that with today's technology, those who are charged with governance should meet the people where they are and provide as many means for communication as possible. I not only speak for myself when I say that it is absolutely critical for an engaged community to be able to understand what is happening, ask questions, and expect answers. Again, I reached out to the City Council for their opinions about a specific topic through email. This resulted in one informative phone call, one forwarded email to the police chief, one insult, one non-answer, and one no response. I think the council can and should do better. I think the city can do better. It's what the people of Clayton deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else with public comment on non-agenda items? Okay, with that, I will close public comment and move on to our next item. I'm going to change the order a little bit. Next would be the consent calendar, but we do have a few guests here to receive a proclamation, and so I hope you don't mind if I do the proclamation first and move it in the order. So I'm going to pass item 4 right now and move forward to item 5A. This is the presentation of a proclamation recognizing March 2026. I know it's April, but we skipped our last meeting in March, so we deferred it just a bit, as American Red Cross Month. So it is in arrears. I have a proclamation to read for you, and then I think we have one to give you, if that's okay. All right, let's see if I could get my reading. So whereas March is American Red Cross Month, when we recognize the compassion of people in the city of Clayton and renew our commitment to lend a helping hand to our neighbors in need. And whereas American Red Cross volunteers have stepped up to deliver relief and care across the country and around the world, bringing out the best of humanity in the times of crisis, as Claire Barton, founder of the American Red Cross, did over 140 years ago. And whereas the volunteers, blood and platelet donors, and supporters shine a beacon of hope in people's darkest hours, delivering shelter, food, and comfort during disasters, providing critical blood donations for hospital patients, supporting service members, veterans, and their families, saving lives with first aid, CPR, AED, and other skills, or delivering international aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by global crises. And whereas with 1,148 volunteers in Contra Costa County, the American Red Cross assisted or responded to 101 disasters, assisting 190 families, and through our Sound the Alarm program, the American Red Cross installed 778 smoke alarms, making 241 homes safer, and trained 425 students through the youth preparedness programs. Whereas Contra Costa County residents donated 18,299 units of life-saving blood, hosted 530 blood drives, and trained 12,164 citizens in first aid, CPR, AED, and aquatics, and provided 463 case services to military members and their families, and provided humanitarian aid internationally. And whereas this work to uplift our community is made possible by those who selflessly answer the call to help whenever and wherever it is needed, we hereby recognize this month of March in honor of their remarkable service, and we ask everyone to join in their commitment to care for one another. Now, therefore, I, Jeff Wan, on behalf of the Clayton City Council, do hereby proclaim March 2026 as Red Cross Month, and I encourage all citizens of Clayton to reach out and support its humanitarian mission. In witness, I have, there's a Linda's signature. So, Mr. Mueller, I think the actual proclamation's over here. Did you want to say a few words?
All right. Well, first off, Mayor Wan and council members, thank you for having us today. And I recognize that we are no longer in March, but nevertheless important. I am Justin Miller. I'm your regional CEO for the Northern California Coastal Region of the Red Cross. I oversee 15 counties in Northern California, but Contra Costa County is one that holds a very near and dear place to me, and specifically Clayton, because I'm also a resident here in Clayton. So again, thank you. I don't have a speech prepared, but we often tell folks the number one reason people don't support us is they weren't asked. And so just with your help, continuing to make that ask for folks to donate their time, their talent, and their treasure, whether it's rolling up a sleeve to donate blood, whether it's making a generous financial contribution, whether it's helping us get prepared. These are the things that matter and are going to set us up. So when that next big thing happens, we're able to respond and we're able to really take care of our communities. So really, again, thank you. I appreciate your support and look forward to just engaging even more in this wonderful community.
Thank you.
Let's take a picture. Yeah. We love a picture.
It was fantastic. One of the great things about this.
Are we good together or are you good? Together? I don't do this right now. Okay. All right. Gotta get in closer.
Closer.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you. You did great work.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, that was item 5A, and I see that Chief Bouchard has joined. Thank you. You made it perfect timing. Yes, that is serendipitous. So our next item is item 5B, and this is a presentation of a proclamation honoring Contra Costa County Fire Protection District Chief Louis Bouchard for his service, leadership, and dedication to the community upon his retirement. They let you retire?
They brought him back.
So wait,
Somehow they put him back in again,
He was
right?
retired for 5 days.
There's a scene from The Godfather Part 3. He's in the kitchen. Anyway.
so should we hold off on the proclamation or?
No, I'm
Is this consulting services, perhaps?
I don't know what it is yet.
Okay, so we have a proclamation for you in recognition of your retirement. So I'm gonna read it at you.
Okay.
Hold on a second. All right. So, whereas Fire Chief Louis Burchard has dedicated more than 18 years of exemplary service to the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District, demonstrating unwavering commitment to public safety, leadership, and the well-being of the residents of Contra Costa County. And whereas Chief Burchard has served with distinction, earning the respect and trust of the community, the Board of Supervisors, the County Administrator's Office, and the men and women of the Fire District. And whereas during his tenure as Fire Chief, the district experienced significant organizational and operational advancements, including the annexation of the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District and the Rodeo Hercules Fire Protection District, establishing a contract for service with the City of Pinole, and providing leadership to reinstitute Fire Station 11 in the City of Clayton. And whereas Chief Burchard championed critical initiatives to strengthen emergency response capabilities, including the establishment of a firefighting hand crew program, the launch of a seasonal aerial firefighting helicopter program, the implementation of an apparatus replacement program, and increasing staffing in both operations and fire prevention. And whereas Chief Burchard championed critical initiatives to strengthen emergency response capabilities. Oh, wait, no, I did that already. Hold on. Whereas under his leadership, the district undertook the rebuilding of fire stations, expanded and modernized the Regional Fire Dispatch Center, increased 911 dispatcher staffing, strengthened and expanded ambulance services, and introduced numerous health and wellness initiatives for personnel. And whereas Chief Burchard played a vital role in advancing wildfire preparedness and resilience through significant mitigation projects and the formation of more than 40 fire-wise communities. And whereas the district achieved a substantial improvement in its Insurance Services Office rating, the ISO rating, reaching a uniform class 2Y rating, all right, reflecting enhanced service quality and protection for residents. And whereas Chief Burchard has led with integrity and professionalism through complex operational challenges, historic wildfire seasons, and a period of remarkable growth, always prioritizing the safety of both the residents and fire personnel. Whereas his retirement on March 30th, 2026, really? All right, marks the conclusion of a distinguished career and the beginning of a well-deserved new chapter. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City of Clayton hereby honors and recognizes Fire Chief Louis Burchard for his outstanding service, leadership, and dedication to the community. And be it further proclaimed that we extend our deepest gratitude and appreciation to Chief Burchard and congratulate him on his retirement, wishing him continued health, happiness, and fulfillment in the years ahead. We also have a proclamation. Would you like to say a few words about your retirement?
Microphone on. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, it's on. Mayor Juan, members of the City Council, staff, thank you very much. I appreciate all the accolades. As you know, I didn't do most of that. We have an amazing team at Confire that is very motivated and passionate about the profession that they're in and protecting the public and serving in the manner that they do. And so every once in a while I would just sort of light a spark, but they would take it from there, if you know what I mean. So I'm humbled by your words and know that they mean the world to me because they represent what Confire has become, and I think what Confire will continue to be in the future. And a huge part of our success as a fire protection district is the relationships that we have, both internally, labor management, with our members, with our elected body, the county administrator's office, but also with the cities that we serve. As you know, it's a unique relationship to have a special district be part of your primary emergency services delivery system. And it's not necessarily completely unique, but it's also not always the same throughout the state. City departments versus fire protection districts. And the relationship that we have with the city of Clayton, I think, has helped us get to a point where we've had a lot of success in protecting the public, not just in Clayton, but throughout Contra Costa County and our jurisdiction. It used to be that Clayton was sort of the end of the tracks for Confire, and you were at the end of our network, and now you're kind of in the middle of our network with the annexation of East Contra Costa Fire. So it sometimes is easier for me knowing that boundaries are even less important now through the annexations, and that we can focus on providing service and being as efficient as we can. So I appreciate all the support that you've given me throughout the years. It means the world to us to host, for you to host the annual Firefighter Memorial on September 11th in Clayton at Fire Station 11. It's not lost on me that this coming September 11th is going to be the 25th anniversary of September 11th. And we're looking forward to having a very meaningful memorial again this year in Clayton. So I appreciate everything that you've done for us. And as I said, that relationship and that partnership, and I know that will continue regardless of whoever takes my spot permanently at the end of my 4 to 6 week role here as a retired annuitant. So again, thank you. I really appreciate it, and wish you and Clayton and Confire all the best in the years to come. I know it'll be successful.
Thank you. I just want to say, when I first moved to where I live, there was a significant fire, just like a month or two after I moved in. And we were worried because we were like on the edge. But the helicopters that came and dropped the barrels into the lake right near the house and just kept flying, doing circles out there. It was amazing to watch. So.
And if I could, really quick, just a couple of points. We have a new helicopter coming in on May 1st. And by new, I mean actually brand new coming in. So that'll be from May 1st through October 31st. It's still deployed out of Byron at the present moment. But it's a little bit faster, and it carries a little bit more water than what we had over the last 2 years. And it's new, so it'll be much more mechanically reliable. Coming up in May, and you'll receive, no, it'll actually be in June, our new communication center will be done. It's almost done, and we keep having delays because of AT&T or PG&E and other issues that have moved the construction project back 2 weeks at a time, if you will. So in June, you'll have a state-of-the-art $20 million communication center that's servicing the predominance of Contra Costa County. So there'll be a bit of a ribbon cutting ceremony, and would invite you to attend that and see the inside of this new center that dispatches all of your ambulances and fire apparatus throughout most of Contra Costa County.
Excellent. All right. We have a proclamation for you.
That's right. Yeah.
So now you're limited to the amount of time you can be retired.
Correct. Yeah, I'll probably only do a couple hundred hours. And then I was retired for a week. It felt like good. The cell phone was turned off. I never checked email. Yeah. And then somebody called. So yeah. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jim, thanks for your lesson.
Thank you. All right. right, that concludes item 5A and 5B. I will return us back to our regularly scheduled agenda on the consent calendar, which is item 4. Does anyone have anything that they would like to pull from the consent calendar?
Yes, I have a couple items.
Your
Microphone.
mic.
Anyway, item 4C and 4E.
E as an echo?
E as an echo.
All right. Let me ask everyone.
Yeah.
No.
Anyone
And I
else
have
have?
D and F.
All right, so this,
yeah.
okay, so the consent calendar is getting smaller. All right, does anyone have anything to pull for A or B? No, okay. So let's take them in order. Item C, so Councilmember Diaz.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm interested in, that has always been an item where we got a number of people from the residential community up there. Did we have any input from them?
Mayor, Councilman, we did not have any input from them or comments from them at all.
But they were notified.
They were
obviously,
notified.
appropriately.
This is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
No news is good news. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else have anything for item C? Nope. Okay,
I just
cool.
have one small thing
For C?
that
Okay.
that I let the clerk know, and that was just the very bottom, the footnote has a typo. It's got the 03 resolution number instead of 04. So she's going to fix that.
Okay, great. No other items for C. Okay. Item D, Delta, or
I have D.
Okay.
I didn't know if Jim was
Yes.
going, because I think he's got E. So I had a really good conversation with our city manager today, because I was just questioning why we were doing another fee study schedule, or fee study, after we just did one in 2003. And
23.
What's that?
23.
What did I say?
2003.
Yeah, 2023. Yeah, 2023. Sorry, I had that in my notes. Thank you. And Chris, do you mind just explaining kind of what we talked about, like why we're doing this again 3 years later?
So there's a couple of reasons. Some of the fees in our estimation, when I say our, the three of us have talked about some of the fees, there's duplication. There's a couple of fees that don't have a nexus associated with them. It's just a fee without a reason behind the fee. So that's part one. Part two is we need to clean up our planning and development fee schedule. There are some issues and struggles with what we currently have, and we want to make sure that we are we have the appropriate fees associated with the work that we are doing. And the third part of this is we have several new fees that we need to implement, and rather than us guess at what those fees should be, we really want to make sure that we bring somebody in to evaluate those fees, make sure that we are legal, they're appropriate, before we go through the whole implementation process. The other part of this work that NBS will be doing is a cost allocation plan. And essentially what that will do will look at our entire operation and make sure that we are accounting for supplies, labor time in the correct areas. So for example, if you have a maintenance worker who's doing work in various locations, we want to make sure we're accounting for that. And we do that internally controlled right now. But what we also need to do is the people who supervise them, the public works director, part of my time, could be part of Dennis's time, part of Jennifer's time as the accountant who's managing those finances, that we are accounting for their time and the costs associated with each one of those districts, so that it's not just hitting the general fund, that is allocated correctly and legally, so that the LMD is paying their share, the Grove Park district is paying their share, and that it has been vetted and it's not a swag by staff, so that it's legal and we can represent that, which in our estimation, should free up general fund money because we will have more allocations to those numerous other special funds that we have.
Thank you. And do we anticipate, it says extending the contract to September 30th, that it will take that long? Is that our estimate?
So currently, they're working on the the fee schedule now. They've already begun that work. Then they're going to go back and do the cap, the cost allocation plan, sorry. And there may be some other fine tuning of the fees after they complete that cost allocation plan work. So in some sense, we did it a little bit backwards, but we also knew that we wanted to get some of these new fees implemented, as well as making sure that we're getting rid of the duplication and confusion associated with some of the other ones that Chris mentioned.
And then they'll present it to us. We'll review it and
Correct.
approve it. Okay.
Yes.
That's it.
We'll have to adopt the entire fee schedule and all the shenanigans.
Great. Thank you.
I have a follow-up question based off of the information that we just heard. For the LMD portion of that, since that is going on the ballot this year, how much do you anticipate, and this is talking about the staff, the allocation piece of it, do we need to increase the LMD, the amount that each homeowner needs to pay for the LMD? Will we have to increase that to cover that? That's what I'm getting at. And how does that timing work?
The short answer is that we would not change the assessment. That's the A word that I was looking for. Thank you. The assessment for the LMD based on either the fee study or the allocation plan. And so I think that becomes really key. It's really a separate piece from that. But what it does do, Councilmember Tillman, is it does take what that assessment is into account in terms of the costs of staff that are being appropriated to it, so that at the end of the day, we actually have think of it as one pie, and you're just slicing the pie based on what the actual work is. And that's the work that they do, the analysis they do in the background of the cost allocation plan. So it really is just taking that pie, whatever size pie that is for the LMD, for example, that piece of the pie will be taken and allocated fairly and appropriately as compared to all the other elements as well.
Okay, I'll take that for now, but I'm going to dig when we get into later in the agenda.
There's something that doesn't comport with how I'm thinking about this, but I do have a couple questions on this. So just to clarify, we originally signed an agreement with NBS for $18,000 to do the cap, right? Just want to make sure I'm reading the report correctly.
So,
that's
okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And so the additional 42 that we're asking for now is for the fee study. Okay.
Correct. And we put that first in order, even though it had not been assigned originally. So
are we already doing work on the fee study now?
There has been some data collected from staff to them, but we're awaiting this contract amendment in order to actually begin that work formally.
Okay. So I guess $18,000 for a cap seems high. And I'm not really sure what the going rate is, but an accountant can do a cap pretty easy. A time study with the staff is pretty straightforward, but that's fine. I mean, if we want to do it, that's okay. But an additional 42, especially like given some of the materials that we're talking about later in the meeting, what is the benefit for us in terms of overall dollars?
On the fee study portion in particular?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember the last time that we did the study, there's a lot of discussion around it, and we tried to structure it so that we wouldn't have to do a new study very frequently. So we put risers on the items so that we didn't have to go back and pay consultants to do a study for us again. Now, I think that we should reset that periodically, but it just seems soon, especially given some of our other constraints. So is the $42,000 worth it right now?
and I'll defer also to our either Chris or Tom, our city attorney. There were some problems in that existing fee study beyond what's missing, but the nexus piece that Chris mentioned earlier, the separation under Prop 218 between a fee and a tax is really an important component to this. And there was enough ambiguity in a number of those fees that were established in 3 years ago we were at some risk of somebody challenging those fees and, in fact, the entire fee schedule based on some of that lack of nexus for it to be a fee. Okay. When you add to that the duplication that existed in the existing fee study, that added an additional layer where we were perhaps double dipping on some fees, and that's what really called our attention and highlighted the need to make that change, the potential for double dipping, which would have been then one of those being more or less treated as a tax. So I think we wanted to be prudent in this so that we're not found liable some point in the future for perhaps double dipping on our fees, and I think that becomes an important consideration. The last piece of that is, with the new fees we were looking at, I think there were enough of a need for good, strong data analysis to be able to give us those based on the actual costs and having them do the analysis. And the last piece I'll say is, if you compare our fee schedule as it's currently constructed compared to what other cities have, it's very confusing. It's not well formatted. And part of that work that they're going to be doing is helping compare the structure and the organizational structure of the fee schedule so that it becomes a much more useful document compared to other, and be more comparable to other cities. Not in terms of the fees themselves, but just the structure of the schedule.
Okay. Yeah, I just, it's hard to get a handle on the number, and it seems, especially given some of the situation. But I mean, what I accept that what you're saying is important. It's just a question of prioritizing the order. So, okay. Anyone else have any comment on item D?
I just have another question, please. Under the fiscal impact, it reads, the cost of the fee study will be built into future permit and rental fees. Can you explain that?
So it's a cost of doing business, and as such, it can be factored into the actual fee schedule itself. It's similar to how we can also pass on the charges for certain proprietary software that people need for, let's say, building permits. If we were to have as we'll talk about later on, some kind of permit tracking system, the cost of that system is another cost of doing business that's directly related to their permit activity, and you could pass that along. Fee studies the same way. It could be passed along.
Isn't this, are we treating this as one-time in nature?
That's a policy decision by the council ultimately.
Because to build it in, essentially, for future payments, you are assuming a certain level of cost in the future for future fee studies on some schedule, right? That's the only way that you could build it in.
So the cadence I'm used to with fee studies in other jurisdictions I've worked in is 3 to 5 years as a pretty standard cadence for these.
Is that the assumption here?
That would be the assumption I would have had in making that assignment. Okay. So.
And we do need to look at it more frequently than we have in the past. People are challenging fees more frequently, and I would recommend the time frame that Dennis just mentioned as well. Something we'll want to keep updating.
Okay. Then maybe when this comes back as a matter of policy, we also include the schedule so that it's clear what our intention is. Okay. Any other comment on item D? Okay. Item E, Jim, you had asked about this.
Thank you. This is an area that I've always been perplexed by, particularly as it relates to the stormwater pollution prevention system. and I'd just like a little more elaboration on it and clarification, because it gets tossed around so frequently, and everybody gets that look on their face like, what is it? What are we talking about?
So all of the water that runs off of our hills and streets ends up in the bay at some point, traveling through a variety of pieces of conduit and streams and creeks as it enters the bay. Many, many years ago, the Bay Area decided all the governments, both cities and counties, would join together to come up with, under the Clean Water Act, would come up with a set of standards and for cities and counties to follow in terms of managing their own potential pollution discharges into the bay and into the Pacific Ocean. That system and the agreement that we have with the federal government under the Clean Water Act is this NPDES thing, National Pollution Discharge something. And so that's the agreement. The project Clean Water for Contra Costa County is who we directly relate to, and so that's the jurisdictional body that, like, for example, now I'm going to, which is really weird, but I'm going to these meetings on Project Clean Water, and really what they're trying to do is do the best they can with the resources they have. The $29 assessment, which is it's a capped assessment for each house unit, is the max that they can get. They've tried ballot initiatives and other things in the past to try to increase that amount, but they just utilize those resources as much as they can, as well as then seeking grants to develop policies to address new and existing pollution sources that are around. I'll just share with you one is that there's some jurisdictions, this will not affect Clayton, but there's a growing concern about mercury contamination in the bay waters. And so in the coming year, Project Clean Water will be addressing that and sources here, again, not Clayton related at all, but mostly in West County, that are sources of mercury pollution. And so there's a constant amount of policy as well as training work and whatnot that goes into this system to maintain it. The $29 is a rather modest fee, and it just needs to be renewed every year. That's why it's in front of you today. This is a standard item we do every year. You alluded to that. It's what we keep doing in order to keep even that little bit of money flowing into the Project Clean Water program.
A question. So is there a net, when you say all cities and counties, so is there some sort of a network of pipes or drainage that? Okay, and it doesn't conflict with the other sanitation.
So, yeah, good question. Yeah, so you can go to if you look at a manhole cover, it'll often have a stamp on there, a letter S, which is sewer. Yeah, and then the other one is SW, which is stormwater. And so that's the distinguishing factor. You can walk most streets, even here in Clayton, and see those different manhole covers that go with two separate systems. So the sanitation stuff that goes out your sink and down your toilet and out the sewer, that goes over to Central San over at 4 and 680. Right. And all those are separate pipes from what goes into from your gutter curb into the storm drains on your streets. That goes in a separate system of pipes and streams that eventually take it into the bay.
You've clarified a lot for that, and I'll be looking for those markings on the manhole covers because I quite frankly didn't understand how the two of those things cross or did not cross.
That W is very critical.
Yeah, they do not cross.
Thank you very much.
The old Ghostbusters don't cross the streams.
Right. Thank you.
All right.
I have a question.
Any other?
Both too. Yeah, go ahead, Holly.
Your mic's on, go ahead.
So just two quick questions. So when it said, and I think Councilmember Diaz kind of was asking this, it says establishing the ERU assessment rate. So it has been a recurring annual So it's not something brand new.
It requires an annual establishment, though.
Got it.
That's why
I
it's a
see.
technical language.
Okay.
The
And we adopt
statute
it at the
requires an
cap.
annual establishment. That's a
Okay.
good question.
And then, does this in any way affect kind of that separate bucket where we've got a stormwater assessment district?
Which
is always running at a deficit?
It does not.
It does
So
not.
it's
Okay.
separate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so my question is, it reads in here about the documentation and reporting that you have to do. Are we, you don't have to get into the weeds on it. I just want to know, are the Clayton Cleans Up and the day of service where people are in the creeks and they're cleaning up on the trails, et cetera, are you counting that?
So that is not one of the reporting requirements, are those kinds of events.
Okay.
It really is much more, we have these trash capture devices inside the storm drains.
Okay.
And we have to constantly report not only that we've cleaned them out, but what we find when we clean them out.
Okay.
And so that's the kind of reporting that's being talked about there. And so we do collect those reports. We do forward those to the county. They are collected and aggregated across the county, but from each jurisdiction.
Okay.
But that's the kind of reporting that we do at this point for the city of Clayton. That's the major effort.
If it's not for this one and it's for the actual district, can you double check that? Because I know in previous years when we were doing the Clayton Cleans Up and solely doing that,
Yeah.
that you were able to use that reporting. I don't know which one of those it was going to.
Okay. I'll check with it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if I find any historical stuff, I'll send it to you.
All right. Any other questions or comments on item E of the consent calendar? No. Okay. And no one had anything on F, right? Oh, F.
I
All
just
right.
had a quick question on F. And so when is the next general plan due for the city of Clayton?
General plan?
General plan.
I don't think there's a requirement to update your
It
general
says
plan.
acceptance of the 2025 general plan implementation. And so is it updated every year or no?
No, the general plan is not updated, but there are elements of the general plan that do need to be implemented. We need to be making progress towards fulfilling the general plan.
Okay.
And this one is specifically towards housing.
Oh, this one is just, okay, because it said end housing element annual progress report. Okay, so it's related to housing. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the change that HCD requested that Planning Commission approved that we are now doing.
No,
no,
this is not
that's
it.
something else. All
That's
right.
yeah, I know.
that's-
I asked earlier, completely different. Yeah.
I got my HCD requirements confused.
Yes, you
This
did.
is the large spreadsheet with the microscopic lines.
There you go.
All right. That's right. I remember this one. Okay. Any other questions on item F? All right. Public comment on consent calendar. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Is there a motion for all of the items?
Mr. Mayor, I will move approval of the consent calendar, all items.
I'll second it.
If we could call the roll.
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Tillman?
Aye.
Councilmember Trupiano?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ania?
Yes.
Mayor Juan?
Aye.
The ayes have it, and the motion passes with the vote of 5-0.
Thank you. That closes item 4. Before we move on to next item 5C, I just wanted to mention to Mr. Flores, I think the meeting that you were looking for is on June 4th, 2019. If you look at that meeting, you'll find the rationale. All right. Okay. Excellent.
And also, can I know we're not supposed to respond during public comment, but can we at least provide Mr. Flores an update that our whole website is being redesigned, user-friendly, we've hired a company? Can we just
We
give
can talk to him offline.
Okay, good. Just, I know the search function is abysmal. I agree. Thank you.
It's still searching. Okay. Item 5C, a city beautification and project update. I believe
You driving?
staff is going to kick us off.
Or do you have it uploaded?
I surprised you. I'm glad you found the meeting, though.
Well,
All right, let's take a 2-minute recess so staff could get their things together and we could do our things. So 2 minutes.
Recording stopped.
All right, we're back from our brief recess. I believe staff is going to kick us off on the city beautification and project update.
Thank you, Mayor. Before I get started, I just want to recap a couple of things, or not recap, but point out a couple of things. This is not an entire list. This is partial of what we have coming up in the next few weeks. We have a ever-expanding, growing list of maintenance issues, landscaping issues throughout the city, in our districts, in our parks, on our trails, that we are addressing currently, and we will be expanding that. I think the one important thing to recognize is this didn't happen in the last 3 months. This has been neglected items for years, and we recognize that, and we are doing our best to correct the issues that we will talk about this evening. On top of that, we are still trying to hire a public works director to help create a system where we don't lag and fall behind in the years to come. We want to fix this and get on a system where we are rotationally addressing these things throughout the city on and on. It's almost like the Golden Gate Bridge painting. You start here, get to the end, turn around, do it again. Same thing with some of these items. We need to be looking at them annually, repairing them annually, and having a robust work plan that keeps us on schedule so we don't fall behind. So with that, kind of overview of where we are: weed abatement in landscaped areas, fire protection, general updates, roadway improvements, and major projects that we have on the horizon. So weed abatement, you probably have noticed Clayton Road was hit heavily in the last couple of weeks with our contract service from Clayton Station to Fire Station 11. We still have Marsh Creek to Regency, Hillside adjacent to the Mount Diablo Elementary. That's on the list that still needs to be done. And Peacock Creek, which is a whole project and of itself that we have to address, and we'll talk about that. In the coming weeks, Oakhurst Drive, the trail edges with the flail mower to get the weeds knocked down to give it the buffer off of those trails. Open space adjacent to residents, that started this week. That is more fire reduction in the land that we own that back up to properties. So that has begun, and we will continue to do that. I'll pause for a second and say the work that we're talking about here, Dennis is working with our contractors to get an order of operations and a schedule of where we're going so that we can put it online, share it on social media, let people know when we're doing that fire work, when we're working on Clayton Road, Oakhurst, whatever area we will be in. One, we want to let people know that we're doing the work. Number two, we want them to understand that there may be traffic control in those areas, so be aware that work is happening, so we protect the folks that are out on the street.
And you're going to publicize that, like on the website, the schedule?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
After we get those main thoroughfares done, we'll move into the interior streets and the medians within some of those neighborhoods and do more detailed work in those areas.
So, did I hear you correctly? Do we not have a schedule yet?
We're scheduling 2 or 3 weeks at a time, mostly in response to specific issues that we're finding at the same time. So is there a master schedule No, there is not. But what we are doing is we're putting people with the highest need and in the thoroughfares as we can. And so that's the goal, is to work up a master schedule as we go further into the spring and summer.
How many separate contract firms are we working with?
On weed abatement, just one.
Just one. And do they, I mean, are they able to provide a work plan that they are doing?
We meet every other week to work out the plan for the next 2 weeks. And that way we have better control over where we're doing the work.
Yeah, that makes sense on an ad hoc basis, but I'm thinking more holistically, like, shouldn't there be a work plan with 100% of the inventory, and then we can see where we've knocked off?
That would be a beautiful thing, Mayor, to have a general work plan.
But they work for us. We could tell them to just do it, right?
Do the plan?
Yeah, like they know the assessment area, or not? Or are we telling them on a week-by-week basis?
We're telling them on a week-by-week basis which assessment areas to work in. We're also trying to be financially prudent about where we're putting them. So we're maximizing the different revenue sources we have in order to do this work.
Okay.
And it is one firm, but we are asking them to bring us another crew. So they have multiple crews within the firm. So, and if they can't provide that, we're prepared to get another firm to do other work and work in concert.
But like we talked earlier today about doing like a grid system, I think the one thing we've been asking for as a council, and I told you this earlier, is just a public schedule. So people know, okay, I'm not happy right now, but somebody's coming to my neighborhood in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm in
Or
grid.
they're-
Yeah, I'm in grid B4. B4 gets done.
Right.
Third quarter. Yeah, so, I mean, I know it's not something that happens overnight, but as part of any of this, that has to be like a work product, because otherwise you're always going to get the questions, and it'll always be chasing, right? So I would just make that recommendation.
Well, and we're not prepared to do a grid right now.
No, it
We're
doesn't have to be a grid.
You
but a
know what I'm
schedule.
saying? And, being down an important staff person is hindering some of our ability to do some of this. And that's something that the hopefully new Public Works Director does when they get on board. And I can tell you, we found the annual plan from previous leadership that's 100% wrong. And they're addressing things at the wrong time of year. And so what they had been doing was not helping our operation. So we're trying to go back and fix and trying to move things forward at the same time. And I don't disagree with anything that we've said. An annual plan, there should be an annual plan, there should be a monthly plan, there should be a weekly plan, period. And the annual and the monthly should be distributed to the masses, so people know exactly what's happening. The weekly plan should be directed towards staff, so they know what they're doing that week. And we're migrating to that, but obviously it has not come to.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I think there's a lot of things that, they didn't start, or they did not happen overnight, so they won't get addressed overnight. However, I think my recommendation would be, as part of any good project management, to treat it like a project and itemize all the things that are open, even though you may not get to them today, tomorrow, or in a month, or whatever. But as long as there's like a ongoing major item list, and then you can report out on it saying item 41 still hasn't started, but we know that it's there, that will help give comfort to the residents to know that these things are in flight. So I would recommend getting at least the inventory in a publishable state, so that at least there is a plan for a plan. So. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Before you go off that page, I have a quick question. Can you give an example of the interior street medians? Are you talking about those that are adjacent to the sidewalk in neighborhoods?
Yes.
Okay.
Those areas, and then there's certain spots like above Ed's Mudville and La Verona up that street. There is a median in the middle of that street.
Okay.
So there are some of those haphazard that are not being addressed on a regular basis. So that's
Okay.
what I'm referring to.
I just wanted to be
as
sure it
well.
wasn't only
Yes.
those and that it's actually, you
No,
know,
it
like
is
the
also
dead
street side,
bushes
yes.
that are adjacent to sidewalks that
Correct.
are causing issues for some of the residents to have to take care of possibly.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So per Contra Costa Fire Protection District, we have to be completed by June 1st. So that's why we've started that weed abatement project now so that we are complete by the deadline. All city parcels will be cut back to guidelines. One of the things that kind of made us a little unhappy is we had rain, we had sun, it got hot, and then it rained again, and all this stuff started growing again, and that is the worst for controlling weed abatement. There are some things that we need to look at in the future, and some of the things that were on the calendar that I said were completely wrong. When to put down pre-emergent, when to spray, when to do those things. And to be 1,000% frank, honest, and transparent, I don't think we did much of it anyways, even though it was trying to be done at the wrong time of year. So looking at ways to prevent weed growth, we did the test area on Clayton Road with the steaming to see what happens next year and to see if that is an actual benefit and helps control those weeds in those areas. We will see. So hopefully it does, and we have another tool in the toolbox. So some general improvements. The grass replacement in Grove Park. The fencing is going to remain in place until our first concert. We have some lovely young folks in our town that like to ride bicycles through that park and skid on the grass, and we'd like to keep it protected for as long as we can. Peacock Creek, replace irrigation in the median.
I think Councilmember or Vice Mayor Ania has a comment.
I just wanted to say about the Grove Park, it's 100% better. 100%. The trees are all trimmed.
Yep.
You can actually see cars coming from Marsh Creek if you're trying to turn left onto Marsh Creek from Main Street. I don't need my wife in the car anymore to tell me, go. You know?
No comment on that.
Yeah. Anyway, it's 100% better, and you can actually see through there, and it's lighter, and that's an excellent improvement.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Appreciate that.
The only thing, oh, go ahead.
The other improvement in Grove Park is there's an area that grass will not grow, and it's just dirt, and it's mess. We're pouring concrete there. We have a contract in place. The area behind the splash pad that always takes on water and turns into a mud hole all year long. We're going to pour curbing in there so to push the water into the drain instead of it creating the mud pit, and then the mud gets tracked on the concrete and the splash pad, and so we're resolving those issues at the same time, and that should happen in the next month-ish. Yeah.
And the only thing I just want to say with the Grove, it does look amazing, and the grass, Zach did an amazing job. I don't know what he did there, but some power washing of our streetlights, the gazebo there. I know the water fountains we've talked about need to be replaced, but a little power washing of the tables too before the first concert, and then throughout would be helpful. Thanks.
Peacock Creek, what we discovered is all the vegetation was dying. It looked horrible, looks horrible. There was an irrigation break up there some time ago, and the decision was made just to shut the water off and not repair the irrigation. And so that's why we have mass shrubbery death, flowers, plants, and some trees. Some of the trees have come back, not all of them. Our crew has replaced all the irrigation to make sure that it is working correctly. They now understand that with current direction, we don't shut water off and not repair it. Shut it off, repair it, turn it back on. That is our process. They've removed the dead vegetation and weeds, and they're working on that. We will be doing some replanting this spring, but